Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video, fresh out of bed, but fresh in mind, ready to talk about what's going on outside. All right, so Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, it's been reported that they are going to make their decision late. Wiggins said he's not made a decision yet. To be very careful about how you word things because they were very careful about how they worded things. Um, but as far as I could tell, cut and dry, they don't really want to take the vax right now. And we discussed, Kyrie's position as far as we understood it to be on this, and I've discussed mine. You guys, if you follow me, you know how I feel about everything. My bottom line to COVID and everything having to do with COVID is you can feel how you feel, just don't be wrong. I did my due diligence a couple years back when this first came along. I understand that just because you don't feel sick don't mean you can't be sick. Just because you've taken the vax doesn't necessarily mean that you can't spread it. These are things that are understood. They're working on it. You can take the vax. There are many different things, but it's not 100% right now. We just know that, and it's not something that we're saying we can't fix as time progresses, or that's 100%. Some people are not making others sick once they get the vax. The vax is doing its job in some bodies, but there's still work to be done, and there's still learning to be done. There's still more information to be spread, and not everybody's doing their due diligence. Not everybody's interested in that aspect of it. They're more so interested in other aspects. Maybe the fact that they're being forced to take something that maybe they haven't done their homework on, or being told to take something that without any choice. People feel like their choices are more important sometimes than the life itself, because the choices represent the ability for others to be free, not just themselves. So if you take away my choices, now you take away my cousins, my family, my sisters. I got to stand on this. If you force me to do anything, even if it's something that is supposed to make me happy, maybe tomorrow you're forcing me to do something that isn't so good, and I'm not trusting you now, I'm not going to trust you then. I understand the mentality and the slippery slope the conversation could take us. I understand the mentality of some people who will value their freedoms over their lives. However, these are unique situations that we're in here. This is a unique circumstance when we're talking about this particular thing. There are certain things that we have to accept, and I've aligned this with being honest. This is one of those situations where in life with this particular COVID thing, you can't shuck and jive, so to speak. You can't dance. You can't play both sides. You can't halfway commit and half not commit, because in doing so, you risk breaking the rules, quote unquote. And the rules are, if you don't do certain things, you can, get yourself sick or be infected by someone else, or infect someone else, to be more exact. So having these different ideals that are standing firm, certain things that we stand on, we'll put our flag in the ground and say this is what we stand on. As it pertains to this virus, it doesn't care about what you stand on. It doesn't care about your freedoms. It doesn't care about your ideals. It doesn't care about your family's freedoms and none of that. It cares about survival, and it's going to continue to spread to keep itself alive. That's its priority. And if you believe such a thing exists, then you understand you can't rationalize or think your way around this thing. You cannot. You can call yourself a scholar and think you're on a higher plane by not taking the vaccine and continuing to take your chances with this thing for reasons that may make sense. But the reality is, just like anything else in terms of virus and stuff like that, it does not care. It does not care. You can stand and die on that hill, and you will die there. This is not a metaphor. So that's my understanding. That's not my opinion. That's what's out there for all of the athletes and all of the private citizens who are capable of getting this information in their hands with devices and things like that. This is out there for you to read. This is out there for you to understand. If you don't follow the rules, you weaponize yourself and you can possibly kill somebody. That is it. So when I say to Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving that I respect your opinion and I understand where you're coming from, I'm afraid these two gentlemen and anybody else who thinks like them are falling along the lines of people who are valuing aspects of this circumstance that doesn't follow the rules. And if you break the rules, it costs you your life in some cases. A lot of cases, we're seeing death all around us. Even now, people dying of COVID. Even now, I'm hearing about people that I know of who are getting infected with this thing. Some of them who've already taken the vaccine, some who have not. But the point is, it's out there. We don't have uh, a real understanding of any type of timeline for how long this thing is going to be out there. It's not like it has an expiration date. So we got to use what it is that we have available to us. And if you have a conspiracy theory, just don't be wrong. That's all I'll ever say, fam. Don't be wrong, because you being wrong is going to cost some people some lives. Simple as that. Now, as far as, what happens next, my opinion about how to handle this, because of the rules, and when I say rules, I've already described it, but I'll say it again. Rules have nothing to do with mandates and governments and all that. I'm talking about the rules of survival as it pertains to fighting COVID. Because of the rules, we can't afford to let the individuals who are standing on that hill, whether they're down that hill, do so. Because of the specifics of the rules. Now, if we're talking about social things, you talking about whether or not you like me because of my skin color, if we're talking about whether you care about me because of how I love, all of those different things don't have physical rules that you have to follow, or else life goes by the wayside. We can break those rules and hurt each other's feelings and fight to the doom, and there will still be innocent people on the outskirts who will be able to live their lives while we fight. This thing, if we fight each other on this, we're killing all of them. They die because of us. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually the virus survives. Because it's going to follow its rules, attack everything. Its rule is to attack everything it can. Lay dormant in all the bodies that it can lay dormant in, so that it can survive. Because some people will be able to live in, like myself, I'm never going to show any symptoms. Been outside all the time. I've probably been sick twice, 3-4 times. I never ever stopped working while the virus was out there. Healthy as I've ever been. So what I'm saying to you is, you could still weaponize it. Even myself. I don't exclude myself from this. Because a lot of people want to exclude themselves from the responsibility of being weapons. I'm not going to be a weapon. You're going to be a weapon. Your body's going to be a weapon. I'm an athlete. I'm not going to be a weapon. I don't believe in this thing. Don't be wrong. Don't be wrong. Or my religion don't allow, my religion, your religion, you might want to go to meditate on your religion, fam. Because ain't no part in time did your religion say bring about the apocalypse on your own, in defiance of the modern times rules, of the modern times laws. Kill everybody in defiance of 2021 laws, says your religion, says nobody. New circumstances, man. We have to survive with what it is that we have. I respect our doctrine. Look, I got a Bible right here. I respect our doctrine, but some stuff just ain't gonna work today. We could try to live by those rules, but unfortunately, some of them, if we follow them specifically, will have us doing things that are just not gonna work today. We gotta be able to cipher through all of that in order for things to make sense now. Doesn't mean you abandon your religion or your ideals, but it does mean, hey, audible time, baby. We got to call a new play. The defense is showing us something different. Now we got something out here that goes into our systems and can hide in us and kill off our grandmas. I think we need to kind of look at this a little differently than maybe we look at racism or classism. It's a different game. It requires different ways of playing. We can't just stand defiant against this thing and think it's going to work. You're standing in front of a train. You can lock arms if you want. It's going to mow you all down, baby. You understand what I'm saying to you? Your courage ain't gonna save you. Your dignity, you're gonna die with that dignity, fam. And you're gonna kill us with it. Don't be wrong. See, sometimes it's super thinkers, people are too deep, people read too much, and I say this respectfully because I'm not one of those people. Sometimes you find out too much and then you forget the basics, baby. It's just the basics sometimes. Yeah, I can find out this, and this, but zoom out, friends. Just zoom out for a second. What do you see? What's the bigger picture? The bigger picture is, if you're wrong, which is possible, even though maybe some of us may not really believe that we could be wrong. Everybody has different mental states, different levels of understanding, whatever. Maybe you're on a higher plane than me. Maybe you've only been wrong twice. Don't let this be the one time in this era, because it costs people lives. And that's what it comes down to. We don't drive reckless. You know what I mean? And I say this with respects to people who are responsible enough saying mind and thought. We aren't driving reckless for fear of killing ourselves. We're over drinking for fear of killing ourselves. We're not overeating for fear. We do all these different things in protection of our lives. But then when there's something out here doing this, we stand in defiance. Like we have some defense in doing so. No, your best defense is following the rules. Doing whatever it takes to make sure that you are safe so that you don't weaponize yourself against others. That is the rule. How do you go about that right now? Well, as far as I can tell, it's vaccine, mask, hands washing, lots of good hygiene practices. Distancing, social distancing, etc. Not letting your guard down, not taking a stranger's blunt and smoking it, or whatever it is that people used to do with no problem. We got to consider germs more so than maybe the average person would have in the past because of this virus, etc., etc. Maybe you believe this doesn't exist. Maybe you think they've got some magical laser in the sky. They're picking people off by that, and people are dying because they're just pushing a button somewhere. Maybe you don't think COVID exists. Don't be wrong. I'm not going to argue with you. Maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe you stumbled upon something that I haven't seen. But what I'm telling you is, don't be wrong. That's all I'm ever going to say about this virus. Don't be wrong. So, now, San Francisco, Andrew Wiggins, they have a mandate just like New York. If you are not vaccinated, you cannot play in that new building over there in San Francisco or go anywhere in San Francisco, do anything of any kind from what I understand. I haven't done the homework on that, but they have mandates for that specific city. Cannot go there without being vaxxed and play basketball. Obviously, New York has it as well. We know what that is about. They're gonna miss they're gonna miss all their home games. Both of those players will miss the home games for their respective teams. That's 41 games plus playoffs. Unless they get the vax at some point in time in that situation. And in my opinion, after talking for 12 minutes, my opinion is just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, man. And it's not emotional for me. I don't have a problem with this. Do what you got to do, man. Do what you think is best for your family. At the end of the day, I've said my piece for the last 11 minutes. Your choice is to absolutely ignore that and do exactly what you're going to do. Because I got a brain, you got a brain. You're going to use yours just like I'm using mine. So this isn't an emotional thing here. Hey, I've told you what I think I should. I've used my voice responsibly. I still lay my head down at night. You're doing what you feel. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. And if I'm these NBA teams, I'm sorry, KD. I'm sorry, James Harden. I'm sorry, Kyrie Irving. I can't value Kyrie Irving like I would like to value Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving is not going to play in half of the basketball games we have available this season. And if this process carries over into the next season, whoever has his services will have the same issue. Because he's probably going to make the same decision, and it's going to be the same result. And that's going to affect a lot of what goes on with the Brooklyn Nets. Let me tell you something about the Brooklyn Nets. Specifically, we saw them last year pull it off in terms of having cohesive basketball play in limited minutes between those big three. But the field was different last year. That's what you can't forget. The Brooklyn Nets are still the same Brooklyn Nets. Heck, they may be a little better, but the field is a lot better. The rest of the teams around the Brooklyn Nets are better than they were last year. You're going to need to play together. Those three are going to need to play together a lot to continue to keep what it is that they've built in place. If not, what ends up happening is this. And this is something that nobody's seeing coming, but it's possible. James Harden reverts back to old Rockets James Harden. His facilitating gift and his sacrifices in facilitating, they could be permanent. And one would think he did it last year, you should be able to do it this year. But what I'm telling you is you do something for 7 to 8 years, 7 years, however long he was in Houston. Yes, you have effectively changed overnight. You did what you had to do. It looks like you've pulled it off. But tell me you can still do that. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now, if he has his brothers down there and a full spectrum of team down there, if he has any reverting back to old ways, they can quickly work it out in practice. If such a thing were to exist, they would work it out. But without Kyrie Irving in practice, the likelihood that they wouldn't be able to work that out, or even worse, the likelihood that Kyrie Irving would have a difficult time incorporating himself into whatever it is that they do, that's going to be more of a thing in my mind than maybe it would have been in any other season because of the missing games. Because of the missing games. How does that affect him being able to show up to practice? I haven't been told. Do they have the same rules for practice? If that's the case, would he not be able to play in the facilities as well? This is a huge problem. And what makes it even worse is because of the nature of the situation, if the Brooklyn Nets were to decide to trade Kyrie Irving, he's already told them he's going to retire. And if he were to renege on that, now the price tag on Kyrie Irving is even worse because he's only going to play half the games. So whatever deal they try to get for him, it ain't going to be good. So the Brooklyn Nets are in a very bad situation because essentially two of their superstars are using the leverage that they have to keep them attached to another superstar that they probably should not want right now. So you can risk being defiant to KD and James Harden and trade Kyrie Irving because you probably should. But then you risk them saying, well, I want out too. You risk them saying, well, no, this isn't going to work. We're going to leave as soon as we get the chance. Maybe not this season, but we want to trade demand as well. So the Nets can't do that. They're not going to risk that. So they're stuck with an overpriced Kyrie Irving playing half games. And him saying what he going to do and what he ain't going to do regardless of who life may or may not be affected by the choices that he chooses. Respectfully, because I don't think he'd be ultimately choosing to kill anybody. I really don't. I just think that he's choosing to value his privacy in regards to this particular situation over being transparent with the media, just like he is with everything else. I personally think in Kyrie's case, he probably will end up taking the backs. Wiggins seems like he has an entirely different stance. That's just my feel for the situation. I don't know. But listening to Kyrie Irving, the part of this conversation that the media is not going to tell us, the part that no one's going to tell us, is he's feeling pressure from his brothers. It doesn't have to be no conversation. They're probably not saying anything at all. But if there's pressure to be felt, it's just there in the atmosphere because he knows how important this season is for both of them, being that they're both in their primes and Hall of Fame superstars. Every year they play from this point on is critical. They must win the championship each year. Both of them. Each year. Every year. You understand what I'm saying? That's what they're going to be judged by. Him, not so much. Harden and KD, any year they don't win a championship from here on out is a failure. And him not being there could initiate that failure for his brothers. That pressure's there. Wiggins don't have that pressure because he don't have that type of role, respectfully. The Warriors are going to be fine without Wiggins. Brooklyn Nets will not be fine without Kyrie Irving. And his brothers are supporting him. I don't care how much support they're giving him right now. I'm 37 years old. I'm telling you this right here and now. If he continues to, quote unquote, and I say quote unquote because I don't see that, it's just in the reports. If he continues to quote unquote do his own thing, that patience and that support naturally as a human being will start to wear out. You will get tired of that. You haven't gotten tired of it yet. You don't even feel like it's even there yet. But 6-7 months down the road, when you're losing games you shouldn't lose, and this man is sitting at home, and you know he's healthy, and you lose by 5, and you know he would have gave you 25. That pressure is going to start to fall on Kyrie Irving's conscience, even if no one says anything to him. Because as a basketball player, as a man, as a teammate, you don't want any inclination out there that you initiated your teammate's failure when it's this much on the line for them. You understand what I'm saying to everybody? You get it? Media, this ain't media pressure. This ain't, fans. This ain't even the sport. This is knowing for a fact that you play with 2 Hall of Famers that are going to be judged by championships, and you are the difference between them getting them. You're going to hurt your brothers, Kyrie, messing around in whatever way, shape, or form. Even if they support you and go down falling with you, when you see them laying down with their fist in the air saying, we did it for Kyrie, you know you put them down there. You put them down there. Because you didn't make the sacrifices that they were willing to make for you. And see, that's the part that Kyrie's going to have to live with long after he's past this era of his life. That's the part that he's going to regret, no matter how much enlightenment he's gaining from whatever else is going on. You regret how you let others down when you had the choice to not. And that's why I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks when I talk about Kyrie Irving. You got to choose the game, man. Choose the game. Choose the game. And I'm not saying that because I know what's going on in his life or whatever matters. I don't know. But what I'm saying is you're only going to be an athlete for so long. But the mentality of being an athlete stays in your head long after your body stops doing it. That's what I'm trying to explain. I know this. You still had them teammates' numbers. They still calling you 20 years after retirement. You still see these guys? Man, we left championships on the table. I know, right? That vaccine wasn't that bad or whatever ended up happening played itself out. It's way past that. But man, we left championships on the table. Boy, there was some good games. You know them 40 games? How many? Oh, man. Look how far up the rankings you would have been if you would have played them 40 games and averaged 25 points. You would have had that much more on closer to this person all time. Boy, we ain't talking about Kyrie the same way if we would have had he played all the times that he missed when he was healthy. These are the type of conversations Kyrie Irving's going to have to sit back and listen to people have around him. Boy, we left some championships on the board, boy. I'm telling you. I know how this works. And all this aloofness, all of this in the cosmos stuff that Kyrie's on, man, life happens. 6-7 years from now, you'll have still that same understanding, but life will just like calm all that down. I'm telling you, it just does. I've seen enough of these type of individuals, these type of circumstances. Yeah, you stay who you are, but the reality of circumstances based on time will just tend to weigh down some of that other in the cosmos stuff. You start to really care about the time that's just past, regardless of how you spent it, whether you were learning or thinking about this or finding out about that. It's still just time being wasted, fam. And at the end of the day, we're talking about a physical aspect of your life, which means you're only going to be able to do it for a short amount of time. So give consideration to that as you learn, as you grow, as you come up with all these grandiose, wondrous ideas about what it is you're involved in this thing called life. You start surmising all that's around you in the depths of it all, and you start thinking about what could and could not be. You realize that you're still just a living, breathing entity with time being snatched from him or her or they. And in that space, you can't get that back. So use your time wisely. Don't do a bunch of stuff that's just going to help satisfy today's mentality. I've made that mistake more than I can tell you, so I know it's a mistake. Today is only going to be today. Tomorrow's coming. And if you do not take into consideration what that version of you will appreciate, you're going to betray it. And that's why I always speak on that in regards to this particular type of thing. Just value your youth, young people. And as far as Andrew Wiggins, hey man, Andrew Wiggins sounds like he gets what he has to let go of in order to make the decision he's making. Now, I've already said what I said about the rules as it pertains to COVID. If you're ignoring those, I'm not your handler. You got to do what you do. You'll live with what you do. But as far as how he's handling what he's doing, fair. Truly fair. I listen to Andrew Wiggins, I say, I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm just gonna enact what I have to do in response to what it is that he's doing. You can't play. We're trading you if we can get a deal for you. Respectfully though. We like and respect how you're handling this. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. That's how I'm doing, Andrew. I don't play like that with Andrew. He ain't a valuable enough player for me to sit back and have these conversations about as it pertains to Kyrie Irving. You're not Kyrie. Not. Your value ain't that high, bro. You don't have to be in the league next year at all. So when you make this sacrifice, you understand your career for real is on the line. Kyrie's ain't so much. He got 2 Hall of Fame players ready to fight for him. Wiggins ain't got that. I don't think a single soul gonna look up here and say, man, Wiggins, man, we missing Wiggins. Oh, we can get this boy back in the league and we'll be back. No. And I believe he understands that. And he's still making this decision. So if you think of him as brave, I can see it. I just don't think this is the hill I would die on. But I'm just me. So, yeah, congratulations to Andrew Wiggins on standing on what he believes in. I truly believe that. I don't see it the same way for Kyrie because he has different things on the line. And, we just seen Kyrie make this decision in other areas. It doesn't have to be necessarily the vaccine for Kyrie. It could be something else. He's going to choose it. So there's more to talk about than Wiggins. Wiggins ain't never done nothing like this before. This is something that Wiggins is doing this one time, and he's standing on it. He has his reasons. He just has to take the losses with it. Cool. Kyrie is a little different because every time anything pops up, it's treated like this. Which is also why he has to respect the fact that people are going to look at him in certain ways, because not everything is of this magnitude, but it seems like everything is as it pertains to you making your choices. And basketball. Basketball comes last, etc. You've heard me say it. So, yeah, that's what I think, man. I respect both of their decisions as it pertains to it being different than one I would make. You know, I try to respect people's decisions, even if there's other things involved, because I look at it like this. Even though we're talking about life and death, once you start taking away people's rights, or once you start making people feel this way, then you start talking about losing life in other areas, in other ways. Now you start talking about civil unrest, people fighting in the streets, burning stuff down, lose people that way. So it's like, how they gonna die? Is it gonna be from the virus, or is it gonna be because of the uproar from people being forced to take vaccines? My thing is, let's minimize all of that. You don't want to do what you're supposed to do, we're not gonna get emotional. We're gonna do what we have to do, and that's that. That's how you play it. San Francisco made the decision. That's what it is. New York made the decision. That's what it is. Now, you make your decision, and we're going to do all that we have to do. That's it. That is it. So, that's what I think, man. Y'all make these decisions. Do what you have to do. Take what I said for what it's worth as one person's opinion. And as far as everything else, man, look. The last thing I'll say about Kyrie Irving's situation before I go. When you don't speak to the media, or when you say that you're going to keep certain things private as it pertains to this, as others have said, because of the nature of it, it's not going to be respected the same way. You know, I respect my privacy. I want you to respect it too. As it pertains to questions about the vaccine, it's not going to be respected. Why? Because of the rules. You affect others with your decision. So, yeah, no, not too many people are going to respect that. Not in this conversation. No. You know, this is similar to the do I have a right to conceal a gun conversation in some ways. It's like, well, yeah, if you have the proper stuff and you've been trained in such a way, yeah, you might be able to do that in certain states. But don't tell me that you just have a right to put your gun away and I should never know you have a gun, because maybe you're someone who could be trusted, but then the next person tries to use that and they're a danger to us all. So that doesn't apply to everybody. Just because you see yourself as special and believe yourself to be special and know yourself to be special does not mean that we should treat you as such based on this truth. Works for you, don't work for somebody else. We got to treat you like them because we can't pick and choose. So that's how that works, Kyrie. I'm sorry, man. You're not going to be respected for saying you don't want to talk about the vaccine. Nah, that's not something I can roll with, bro. It's too. The rules indicate that you're affecting others with your withholding. That feels like a lie. That feels like something disingenuous. That feels like something that risks other people's lives. That feels like something that we would otherwise lock people up for if it were parallel to something else that risks this many lives. And you're holding back information that would otherwise save lives. No, bro. Not this time. Not when it comes to something like this. No. As a person, because of the specifics of the rules, I am inclined to believe that you are obligated to let us know at least what we need to know to protect ourselves from you. My name is BDO44, and I'll leave it at that. Peace.